Okay, E24 and E26 kind of go hand in hand, so you might have been doing these together. E26 asks you to simply do the journal entries from what we practiced in E24. So we can refer back to E24. You might want to have that problem out in front of you as well. But what we have to do now that we know the effects on the accounting equation, and now that we listed out even all the accounts that are affected, we simply have to put it in journal entry form. Remember, journal entry form, it always has to have at least one debit and one credit, okay? And they always have to balance. The book gives you a few other helpful items that might be helpful to you when you're starting out, such as when you're writing the accounts, put what type of overall accounting equation effect it might have on it. That's not actually done in practice. In a business setting, it's not actually done. However, there's a lot of differences that you'll find between book work or academic work versus what's actually done in a business setting. For instance, you usually have a general ledger package that is a software system that'll do a lot of these journal entries before you. You won't be writing all of these journal entries by hand. But it'll be okay to practice this and put a few extra things to help remind you of the effects of the accounting equation when you first start out. But as we progress through the semester, I'll start omitting that because you'll become more familiar. It'll just be kind of secondhand knowledge as to what types of effects you have on the accounting equation as we go along and make our journal entries. But for this first problem, I'll put them on there as well. All right, we know from A, it says we received $10,000 cash from the owners by issuing stock to them. Well, we already know that we are debiting cash because cash is an asset, right? So we debit cash here, okay? And I'm going to write plus on an asset because that's increasing asset. This is a portion that you wouldn't see in the business world. You also wouldn't be writing here debit. You would just know that it's a debit because it's on the left-hand side. But again, we're adding that for our purposes. And we see that it was 10,000. So I'm going to write 10,000. I'm going to truncate the zeros here, but I'm going to write 10,000 here, okay? And then we did that by issuing stock. So we'll credit contributed capital here. And again, I'm writing credit here, and I'm going to abbreviate that contributed capital. Capital is stockholders' equity, so plus SE on this, okay, and 10. Notice, and this is part of what you find in normal, this is not my format that I've made up, this is normal accounting format. Notice that the debits are on the left, they're out here, both the words and the numbers, okay, and the credits are indented here, both the words and the numbers. This is important. You have to have this format. If you don't have this format, I will count you off on a test. Again, it's not my format. This is accounting format. This is how we write our journal entries, okay? Next, B. B indicated that we borrowed $7,000 cash from bank and signed a note that's due later this year. Again, we will debit cash here. Cash is an asset, so we'll plus on the asset. And we will credit notes payable like we wrote out last time. Notice that this notes payable is due later within this year, so you could write a short term. I'm going to read that ST, a short term notes payable. Notes payable is a liability, so we're plussing the liability here. Okay, and the amounts were 7,000 and 7,000, okay? Next. It says we bought and received $800 of equipment on account. So we see here, and we will debit equipment because we received equipment. Okay, abbreviate that there, and that's an asset, so I'm going to plus this asset here. And that was $800, so I'm going to do a 0.8 here because we've truncated the zeros. In your homework, I don't mind whether or not you truncate the zeros. That's completely fine if you're, trying to save time just writing things down. I kind of do it. It's kind of, just a habit to do that here. Kind of save time writing shorthands, things like that when you're writing a lot. So that's completely fine. I wouldn't count you off on the test or anything like that. You're welcome to do that. If you don't feel comfortable doing it, you're also welcome to write it out. Again, if this was 800, just put 2 zeros, erase the decimal. And you bought this equipment on account, so we have accounts payable here, so we'll credit accounts payable. Okay, accounts payable is a liability, so we'll plus the liability, and that's going to be 0.8. All right, next one on D, it says we purchased land for $12,000, so D, we have a debit to land, and we're going to run out of room here, debit to land. Land is an asset. And more specifically, it's a non-current asset, but we're just going to write asset for now. Okay, and we do that for a total of $12,000. That's how much the total is. But we pay $1,000 cash and one term signing a long-term note. So we'll credit cash which is also an asset, but this time we're minusing our asset here, 1,000, and then we'll credit. Hopefully you can see that at the very bottom here. I'll kind of try to get out of your way here. Notes payable, and this time the notes payable, N/P, this time the notes payable is long-term because it tells us it's a long-term note. It just gives us that information. And this is a liability, okay? We're increasing this liability here, and that's for 11,000. Notice that our accounting equation here still balances, all right? Notice up here we had a short-term note payable because it was due before 1 year was up. Okay, I'm gonna erase this and finish up on E. And E indicates that we purchased 3,000 of equipment and paid 1,000 in cash and charged the rest on account. So we purchased equipment here for 3,000, so we're going to debit equipment. Sorry, I want that equipment here. And that's going to be an asset, and we'll do that for 3,000. And then we paid 1,000 in cash, so we will credit cash. It's minus on the asset here, 1,000, and then we charge the rest on account, so we'll credit accounts payable, and that's a liability, so we'll plus the liability, and that is 2,000. Accounting equation still balances, we're still in check. Please let me know if you have any questions. Thanks.